you don't listen. You're probably not even listening right now.
My daughter Jody is 14 and she has a real attitude problem. You can ask her a question and she's like,
just let me talk to Whitney.
I see the temper tantrums, the fits, the lashing out, screaming, the hollering. Jody tells me that I'm stupid.
Oh, stupid. Seriously.
Crazy. I pulled her hair. Jody has absolutely no respect for authority. She interrupts my conversations with people by saying, focus, focus. It makes you want to smack her.
I don't give my parents respect because I don't feel like they give me any respect.
She's very disrespectful to teachers. She tells them how to run the class. She intimidates kids at school, and I get phone calls from the principal.
My sister is so hard to get along with.
Want to stop looking at me?
I think she's very mean. The kids at school don't like her. They'll like scream out at lunch, "I hate your sister." I hate it when the kids say things like that to me.
Jody, tell me what you're thinking and feeling right now.
I feel like my mom doesn't ever pay any attention to me, and when she does, she's just yelling at me because she's mad that I'm not perfect, or that I'm not like my sister or whatever, and she expects me to be perfect and I'm not, and I can't help that.
Tell me what you're thinking and feeling right now.
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's her personality. I think she does what she wants, when she wants, and how she wants it. When she doesn't get what she wants, we pay for it.
You think it's all manipulation?
Yes.
You do?
Completely.
All right. What do you think about your behavior? Do you think that it is something that people should have a problem with?
Sometimes, yeah.
You admit that you're rude to your parents.
Yeah.
You admit that you're disrespectful to them. Mm-hmm. When you're talking to your mother, you say, focus, Mom, focus.
That's just she's not paying attention, though.
I understand that she may not be paying attention, but do you understand that that's very condescending and rude?
Yes.
And don't tell me you do if you don't. You tell your parents, screw you, you're a piece of crap, you're an idiot, you're crazy. Go ahead and hit me, I'll call the cops, you're worthless, and I'll do anything I want. Did I read those right?
Well, the only reason I treat my parents like that is because I feel like they do that to me first.
Does your mother say, screw you, you're a piece of crap, you're an idiot, you're crazy?
Not all those things. She said plenty of other things.
What does she say to you?
That I was the biggest mistake of her life, that we would have a better family if I wasn't there, that she hates me. She said tons of things like that before.
Mm-hmm. True? You've never said that?
Taken it totally out of content. No, I told her if she
You never
wasn't
said
there,
those
it would
things,
be more
Mom.
peaceful at home. Yes, I have said that. And I have said some horrible things to her. Not that I hate her, I said I hate the way she acts. There's a difference.
I don't think you want to yell and scream and be mean to people all the time, do you?
No.
When I see somebody behaving that way, what I wonder is how they must feel inside. I'm just wondering, if you're showing that much anger, are you hurting inside?
Yes. When I'm at home.
I believe that when somebody shows anger, I think it's nothing more than an outward expression of hurt, fear, or frustration. I think that's what's going on. I think you have to look past the anger. Right. That's just a symptom. I think behind it, you're going to see hurt, fear, and frustration. This isn't a Jody problem. This isn't a mom problem. This isn't a Jamie problem. This is a family problem. And taking the target patient that's making all the noise and carrying them up and setting them down on the altar as the sacrificial lamb to the therapy gods is not what needs to happen here. This family is hurting. This family is in need of intervention. This family needs to redo their patterns. And you know what you need to do? You need to curb your tongue. And I don't think you're a mean kid at all. I think you're scared. And I think you're getting people before they get you. And it's not working for you. And you're not going to have any friends. You're not going to have a boyfriend. Let me tell you, a guy's going to look at you and go, oh, no. I'd rather hug a buzzsaw than get into that. They're going to see the way you treat people, and they're going to go, oh, get me a good dog or something. I don't want to do it. They're going to be scared of you. Trust me, take it from a guy. As much of a porcupine as you can be, we need to reach out and be your friend and hug you. And what I want to do with this family is I want to set up for you a family intervention here with some skilled family therapist that can create a new pattern in this family, redefine some new relationships, teach you about empathy and forgiveness, and teach you about listening without agreeing. You can't do it on your own, and that's what you're saying. You're saying, I'm worn out.
Right.
Can't take it anymore.
No.
Got to have some reinforcements. I will get them for you. Will you participate in that?
Yes.
Will you go in there with a good attitude, and don't go in there and tell the therapist he's a complete idiot and shut up? Okay, will you do that?
Yes.
Deal?
Deal.
All right, good deal.
My name is Ellen, and my 14-year-old stepson Cameron is destroying my family. Cameron is rude, disrespectful, and hateful. I've heard him call me every name you can imagine. He would say word and that I'm stupid and mean and I'm not his real mom. So do you have any homework?
I don't have any homework because the quarter just ended.
He's self-centered, stubborn, very selfish. Do you have progress report givers?
No.
We have family dinner once a week. He will deliberately disobey, and it always, always ends in a big fight.
I think she most misunderstands that I'm not out to get her.
Cameron is a challenge for his sister. Cameron has told Jessica that she's fat, that she's lazy.
My mom gets along with my sister better than she gets along with me. She doesn't care as much about me as she would about her.
Cameron's behavior is affecting my relationship with my husband. My husband doesn't know how to deal with it, and he blames me.
Ellen gets very angry at Cameron at the drop of a hat, and I think her expectations are unreasonable for kids.
Are you going to meet someone down there?
Not right now.
You just going to see who's going to show up, or?
There's always people over there.
I'm not a yeller and screamer when it comes to dealing with issues. Ellen is very emotional. Ellen sees Cameron as competition for my time. As a matter of fact, she said, I just don't like the kid.
So when you get to a point where you can pause that, can you rake the backyard for me and do dog duty? Chores around here aren't huge, but asking Cameron to do any of them is a chore in itself. One time I asked Cameron to rake the leaves, and what should have taken about half an hour took 3 hours. When Cameron pushes me to the point where I'm done, I will either yell, ask him to leave the room. It makes me feel like I'm a horrible parent.
I'm afraid that he's going to grow up without really having a mom. I don't think that's a good way to grow up.
I'm not sure there's hope. I would like to see our family be a happier, normal family.
I really want to believe that I'm going to be able to get through all of this, but it's just been 11 years of the same thing. Please, Dr. Phil, I don't know what to do anymore. Can you please help us?
Well, this is affecting y'all's relationship. Would you agree?
Yeah.
How's it making you feel?
I'm to the point where I'm just terrified this is all going to be my fault. That I'm just some military mom, and I do love him. I know I love him, and it just just to hear him think that I don't, it makes me feel like I'm failing at this.
How do you think it's affecting the relationship?
This is a big strain right now. We can't sit down and have a family dinner without having a big argument around the table at some point.
Well, let me cover one thing first about that you're going to wind up getting blamed and being the horrible, wicked stepmother. I think being a parent is the most noble calling that people ever have. And I think parents in general, and you two in particular, are doing the best you can with what you know and what you have. I don't know which of you is right, but I think that you, like many parents of divorce, are coming at this with a lot of guilt. You had a divorce when Cameron was 3. I think it was very difficult for him. I think it was very difficult for you. You're now in a position where you essentially have had custody pretty much the whole way, which means his mother's out of his life. So this has been a big deal for him, and I think you feel guilty about that. And as a result, I think you hold him to a lesser standard. True or false?
I think there's a big impact on that. I feel like he got a short shift in life, and he deserves some help with that.
Yeah. And so the question is, do you think that an indulgent or over-tolerant approach is in fact a gift to Cameron. It's like he's had it tough, so I'm not going to be hard on him now. Isn't that kind of the equation here?
I think you could see that. I know that's what Ellen sees.
When children go through a divorce, they have dramatic and exaggerated needs that have to specifically be attended to in a very positive and very therapeutic fashion. And if that's not done, they're going to be left with insecurity, fear, voids, and oftentimes they're going to be over-aggressive and over-pushing or really withdrawn. They get into a state of imbalance. Indulging them is like throwing gas on the fire. That doesn't help. And the question is, what do you do instead without adding to their burdens? Some of the things that we've talked about with regard to him is, he'll sneak treats and then lie that he didn't do it. When he sits at the dinner table, he takes up 3/4 of the table and crowds his sister out on purpose. Do you think that's on purpose?
No.
You just think he's just socially insensitive?
No,
that he's sitting at the table like this and his sister's eating over here on the corner of the table? Do you think he's just not smart enough to recognize that he's overpopulating the table?
No, the dynamic's kind of interesting because he'll do that and Jessica will lean over to the side and wait for Mom to bail her out.
You told a girl at school that other people are going to think you're a slut because you stand in the hallway with your
That's
boyfriend.
rude.
He says his sister's fat and chews too loud. Is that by accident?
No, that's rude too.
That's rude. Are you in denial here about what he's
Maybe.
doing?
I mean, maybe I'm curious. It seems like the characterizations you're using, though, you've taken 3 or 5% of his life and played them all at once and tried to make it seem like that's what it's normally like. That's what it feels like to me. I think you're missing the other 95%.
Does it suggest to you that maybe that 5% is particularly significant in that it's actually disrupting your marriage?
Absolutely.
And that it's disrupting the peace of mind that your wife is here with you, upset, tearful, absolutely wrung out, and doesn't know what to do? Would it seem like that 5% perhaps has a little more gravity than you might be
That's why I'm
giving
here.
it?
That's why I'm here. I want to figure out how we can address this problem differently.
You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Here's the thing. I think when children go through a divorce situation and so their life is disrupted, what they need more than anything are standards of conduct. What they need more than anything are boundaries. What they need more than anything is guidance. What they need more than anything from their male role model is to not tolerate or endure them treating the women in the home badly. If he's going into his sister's room and screaming, "Get the up," and walking out and slamming the door, his respect for women in general is very suspect with me. Call that 1%, 0.5%, whatever you want. That's at a core value level. Now the question is, why is he doing that? I think there's a definite possibility that it's the disruption that came from the divorce to begin with. Dr. Siegel is with us today. You think that there is a possibility here, having not seen Cameron, but we've discussed it at length and you've looked at some of the records here. You think there is a possibility here of some type of ADD or ADHD or dysregulation at a brain level, correct?
That's right. Yeah, just from reading the records for Cameron, I would be concerned and he needs to be evaluated for that kind of medical problem.
If he has a problem with inhibiting certain impulses, then it would be very unfair to be punishing him for that if in fact he just simply didn't have the brain connection to suppress that impulse. Whether we call it obnoxious or rude or whatever we call it, it's not okay. You two need to negotiate what's okay and what's not.
We aren't on the same page with that.
Yeah. And if you don't, that young man's going to pay the price.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.